Okay, having to wait for season 3 is like cruel and unusual punishment. But we will be doing trivia tonight, so get ready for that at the end of the audience Q&A. Hannibal was kind enough to give us some great giveaways, so that should be fun. I now want to introduce our moderator, whose film and television criticism appears in To Be Continued, Vulture, and the AV Club. Please welcome Keith Ulick.
Hey, fannibals. How y'all doing? Good to hear. So yeah, thank you, David, for having me back to Paley Center. I was here just a little over a year ago on an X-Files panel with David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. That was my feeling. And I'm happy to be back tonight with another show that involves Gillian Anderson, so I detect a pattern. Albeit Gillian's not here tonight, but we have quite the panel here anyway, so I'm going to start introducing them now because we should just do that. Everybody ready? Okay. So first, she plays Alana Bloom. Please welcome Caroline Daverna. Next, he plays Special Agent Jack Crawford. Please welcome Mr. Lawrence Fishburne. Okay, the good doctor himself, Hannibal Lecter, Mr. Mads Mikkelsen. We have our purely, go ahead. Everybody good? Good. Then we have our purely empathetic protagonist, Mr. Will Graham, Hugh Dancy. Hello. And finally, the creator of all the madness, Mr. Brian Fuller. I need a drink. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
So I think the only proper way to start the panel is to ask, what did you all have for dinner?
Who? Who did we have for dinner?
Who did you have for dinner? Anybody?
I had a burger.
Yeah, I thought it was chicken.
Salmon.
I had the pizza.
Pizza. Caroline?
I'll be the girl. I had broccoli, and then I had tuna.
Okay, excellent.
That's what you thought.
The broccoli is people.
Oh my. So I thought what I'd start with, going down the line here, I was curious what everyone's first encounter with the Hannibal Lecter mythos was. You know, wherever you were in your life, be it the books, the movies, what was the first time you came across it, and what did you think of it at the time?
I think when I was just starting high school, The Silence of the Lambs came out. So I don't remember seeing it when it came out, but I did see it a couple years later. And it's funny, I saw it again a few months before we started doing the show, and it hasn't aged a bit. It's such a classic. So yeah, I hadn't read the books or anything.
Is it, I want to say, is it Brian Cox?
Yeah.
In Manhunter.
Brian Cox, Manhunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, I'm sorry, operator, I haven't the use of my arms. Ooh, okay. Yeah, smart guy. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of it. I don't know what it is. No, obviously, I saw Silence of the Lamb when it came out. And yeah, I was way too old to be scared that much. It was a fantastic film. We owe Anthony Hopkins a lot. As well. Yeah.
Same, saw Silence of the Lambs. What I remember thinking was how beautiful it was. I mean, specifically in that crime scene that he creates when he slaughters the 2 police officers when he's caged up in that hall, and they come in to see it splayed up like an angel. I thought, oh God, that's beautiful. And then you think, what's wrong with me? They did that very well.
Yeah.
Manhunter, same with Lawrence. Brian Cox, I thought was amazing, and kind of he gets eclipsed by Anthony Hopkins because it's an Oscar-winning performance, but I think Brian Cox is just as good. I think they're 2 fantastic performances. And then I went and read the book, and that blew me away.
Yeah. So I'm curious about Brian specifically, about Lecter, especially around the time Silence of the Lambs came out. There was a lot of to-do with, and we should, should we?
The baby's wearing an Eat the Rude onesie.
The baby's one of ours.
Yes. Beverly Katz is in the audience, so say hello. Touchy and fun. So, when Silence of the Lambs came out, I mean, there was a lot of to do with like GLAAD and some transgender rights groups and everything. It's always been an interesting character in terms of how I think he's sort of been reclaimed for the gay community in a lot of ways. I think you have a lot to do with that.
Who hasn't tucked their penis between their legs?
Yes, but I mean.
Guilty. I'd fuck me.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Wow.
I'll fuck you.
You did, though.
That's next season, really.
Well, I was curious specifically, like at the time, if that was something that you were bothered by, or where you were in your own place as a gay man with it, and how you have decided to, do it, amend it or make it what it is now, I guess.
Well, I actually found it so interesting. I wasn't offended by the character. I found the character more fascinating. I think there's actually, if we're being nitty gritty, I think there's actually more homophobic things in the Thomas Harris books than that. So, bless him. I think he's a fantastic writer, but there's some homophobia there. But I didn't I'm not really offended by that stuff unless it's sort of thin and flat. I think if you're creating a character that is complicated and interesting and original, and you happen to make them transgendered, I think that it's an intelligent thing to do as a writer. It's another facet to explore humanity.
Right. I mean, this connects to some of the things you do, like changing genders of the people from the books to the show and other things. So, could you talk to that a little?
Yeah. Well, I think I think if we didn't change some of the genders of the characters, it'd be a sausage party. Like it would just be there'd be a lot of guys, and so we need female energy in all entertainment. I think, and without it. And I think that's what's very exciting about season 3 is that I think we have a lot more female energy in season 3.
That's good to hear. Let's talk, Mass and you. I'm interested in how you. There's an interesting kind of like undercurrent of love, I would say, between Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham.
He's penetrated him.
This is true.
Oh, yeah.
How I'm blushing, Jesus.
You asked the question.
I did. Yeah. My fault. But how does it shape your own portrayals or understandings of the characters? Playing that kind of
What are we doing in our private lives? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all.
No, I mean, yeah.
They are in love, or they love each other.
Yeah.
That's unquestionable.
Yeah.
I think it's a platonic love, but it's rich and. We've done 2 seasons so far.
Yeah.
It's a platonic love.
Yeah.
And they recognize each other as unique in the world. They reflect each other in that way. There's a kind of profound recognition and relief that comes with it.
Yeah, it's
And they're both very
losing
good-looking
him.
guys.
Losing him, well, exactly. Losing him or going through what Hannibal did with him in the 2 seasons is probably the closest he's ever been of loving anyone. And what love means in his universe, we'll have to see later on. But it's heartbreaking. Everything that happens to poor Will is also heartbreaking for Hannibal.
Yeah. Yes. Indeed.
Well, that was one of the reasons that I was really excited about this project, was to explore heterosexual male friendship, not just between Will and Hannibal, but also Jack, because I feel like there is a three-way between those 2 men.
You were doing so well.
Yes. we just got out of it. But I think Jack has a friendship with these 2 guys as well, that like it's a really interesting exploration of male friendships.
And I was going to ask about, because I think Jack Crawford actually has the key line of the series in the premiere, which is he says, "Can I borrow your imagination?" And I feel like that's the sort of key to what you're doing. So what would you say, and maybe if the actors want to chime in too, you're trying to borrow our imagination for and show us?
Well, I think there are so many layers of existing with friendships and so many, because I started out wanting to be a psychiatrist and I went to school to become a psychiatrist, and it wasn't until a teacher told me, go to film school, because
Really?
everything that I did was about
We
the
thank our
psychology.
Lord every day. For 2 reasons.
So the psychology of the show is, I think it's a psychological thriller first and foremost, and that's what we're exploring, is really abnormal psychology, abnormal psychology.
Fantastic. Caroline, I'm particularly interested in your arc in season 2, because you had to play someone who's basically in love with the devil and not know that, or not want to believe that he is. I'm curious about your own process in doing that, because it could be. I mean, it's so easy that it could be people screaming in the audience, "Oh, don't go in there! Why are you going into the haunted house? For God's sake!" But I think it works, like you were saying, Brian, psychologically. And so I was curious about your own approach to that arc.
Well, I think in season 1, there's this tension between Will and Alana that she knows to back away from, even though that's where her heart leans naturally. And it's interesting how she backs away from that one, but goes straight into this one. In every way. In every way.
Another strong.
But yeah, I think she, in season 2, knows that she wants, I think, an adult relationship. She knows that she's been, her heart's been leaning, she would want to fix Will Graham, and she knows that it's the wrong way to go, because she always wants to fix everyone and save people. And I think she sees in Hannibal someone that her equal. Oh my God, the brass monkey!
Was it talking to you?
For those of you who can't see it, it's a trinket from Wonder Falls. It's been looked at. I don't really remember what I was saying now. Wow.
We're equal.
Well,
Yes, exactly.
equal.
So I think there he is.
Madame.
But can I add, I think there is an honesty. That is pretty. I think there's obviously an honesty to what Brian writes, and there's an honesty in how we try to give the scenes justice. That means there is never the big plan from Hannibal.
Yeah.
It's always,
Yeah.
when I'm with Jack, it's honest. There is no lie. It's an honest relationship.
Yeah.
And we become strong friends, as I do with his wife.
Yeah.
What I do with Alana, it's honest.
Yeah.
It might change tomorrow. We don't know. But it's always honest. And I think that's one of the reasons why she can walk in that door without the audience go, no.
Yeah.
Because they kind of react, yeah, I see that coming.
Yeah.
That's an honesty in the whole project. We're not trying to be behind the other characters going, gotcha. we're trying
Although that
not
might
to
be
do
awesome.
that. And so I think that honesty is one of the keynotes too, that we can get away with some of these things.
Right. Maybe that segues us into that could segue us into your fight with Jack Crawford that opens season 2 and closes season 2.
That was an honest fight.
Yeah, that was an honest fight. You had already had the fight in season 1. I think it was Tobias Budge, right? Is the character?
Not much of a fight, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I know. I think he had requested that there be a fight scene at some point, right?
Yes, yeah, it was I remember, what episode was it? It was very early on where you pulled me aside on the stage and was like, I'm very good at fights. So if you want to do a fight, I can do one.
And then you give me the big guy, which is like, come on. That was a long
Who
day.
else is good at fights?
It was a very long day. We felt, actually, didn't we? We felt really young while we were doing it.
We felt really young, and we looked really young while we were doing it.
What, the day after?
But the day after, we really felt our age.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That was a
shot
great-
it in a day.
We did 14 hours.
No, we did 21 hours, Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just blocked out the other
I
side.
did. That was pain. No, it was a beautiful day.
It was great.
Yeah,
It
we
was
were proud
fantastic.
of it.
Yeah.
I'm excited about their rematch in season 3.
Oh.
Well, you have to accept the rematch, don't you? I mean,
Well, since
Place your bets.
since you opened that line of questioning, then what can you tell us about season 3?
Wow, well, gosh, it's different. It's radically different than the previous 2 seasons, and I feel like we had such a blowout at the end of the second season that everybody has to be so changed by what they've experienced.
Yeah.
And that kind of, we painted ourselves into a corner creatively, and the only way out of it is to start knocking down walls. So
Yeah.
we're doing something completely different in the 3rd season.
Okay. Well, I got some questions from Twitter too, and the Twitter user Serenity asks you, in terms you.
All my life.
Yes. I knew I was going to mispronounce someone's
we
name.
are
Sorry,
sick and tired of accents here. Please.
But she asks, in terms of character development, what new aspects of Will are you most looking forward to portraying in season 3?
Well, I think that he has to have. I'm kind of repeating what Brian just said, but he's come out of that kitchen. It's like he's gone through a furnace in a way. I mean, and there's got to have been some balance now between his sanity and his insanity that he's carrying. I mean, he's still going to have to face up to it at some point, but he's carrying that with some kind of almost kind of poise, equanimity, So a slightly lighter on the surface Will Graham, I think, will be interesting for me.
Okay. Yeah, cool. That works. Another question I got from Twitter from Denise Bister. What will Hannibal be wearing in season 3?
Not a lot. The thing is, we kind of broke the budget last year, so we.
Right.
I would put it this way.
And we've just come to understand how the internet works.
That's how yeah, Hannibal is on the run. I guess you know that. Am I spoiling anything? You have seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
But when he's running, he's not necessarily hiding.
Yeah.
So it might be strangely flashy what's going on
Okay.
to a certain degree. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, and also I think a greater variety of looks
Yeah.
as he adopts different personalities.
All right. Okay.
Maybe no waistcoat today.
Should that be so bold? Is it today?
Now, since I saw that lovely little display between the two of you, I need to ask. You worked on the film King Arthur in 2004.
We did, yeah.
And I believe you might have recommended Maz for the role in some way, or?
I mean, only insofar as that whenever I heard Maz's name being mentioned, I kind of whooped and hollered, and I was, enthusiastic, to say the least.
Yeah.
When I think maybe the very first time that I met Brian, which was when I was here in New York, I was in a play, so we met for lunch, along with Martha De Laurentiis, one of our producers, and inevitably that question came up.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way I remember it is that Brian mentioned Maz's name in that conversation, and for me, really, from that point onwards, that was it was set. Turned out that I don't run NBC, so it took a little longer for everybody to agree. But that was just it was. I couldn't shift that once it was mooted. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's so sweet. No, I'm great.
true.
The follow-up to that question is, when you realized you'd be working together again, what did you both think?
Well, I mean, I can answer that because there's an extension to that first question, which was that, then there was this possibility floating around. Mm-hmm. I saw Mads. Mads came through New York as it happened, and we came to see the play and so on.
The same play, everybody saw that.
Everybody saw this play, right? We could do the play. No. Hey.
We got the time.
Let's put on a show.
Yeah, you think Hannibal's kinky. But it took a while for all of this to, for it to go through the processes that has to go through, for everybody to sign off on it, and so on and so forth. And I was in the theater in my dressing room when I got a call from Brian, like 10 minutes before, or I think it was just before I went on stage, and it was the call I've been waiting for a while. So.
Yeah.
Thank God, because like all great parts that are fantastically acted, there are multiple bad versions. I mean, most good acting is brilliantly navigating a way through many, many pitfalls, potential pitfalls, and so I had those kind of specters in my mind, those possible specters, and I had foreseen what a good experience this might be.
Yeah. Maz?
No, I'm getting all
thinking of
touched
something
here.
else.
Yeah, no, it's very, it's very emotional to hear all this. Thank you. Yeah, we spent 6 months together on a horse, or two horses.
Two horses.
So of course, as you can imagine, we got quite close. No, we spent a lot of time. We became friends there. We've seen each other every time I've been in London or wherever. Since then, I've always called him, and it's just been one of those relationships. We've seen each other's works, and we never really dreamed about that one day we might do something.
No, actually that's not true. Because when we did King Arthur, maybe after a few beers, Mads was like, "You should make a movie in Denmark."
But I say that
I guess
to
I probably
everyone.
won't get to work with Mads.
He
again.
said
Yeah.
that to me, though, so
know,
that don't really mean nothing.
Yeah. No, even at the time,
I said that to the guy who was stealing my pizza. No, I mean, it was just it was a fantastic gift. Another benefit of this is, as we said before, these are big shoes, not only for the guy who's going to play Hannibal, for everybody who's involved in it, because it's such an iconic film and book.
Yeah.
So spending that much time with a fellow actor, as I knew I would do with Hugh, it was just a fantastic gift that we knew each other, because we will not only be in the room, we will have to be, to a degree, emotionally naked in certain situations, right? And it's just nice that you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that we were all smitten by that. We knew each other in the sense that everybody became really close really fast on the show, and that is a gift.
That brings up a question. A lot of people were kind of tweeting this at me too. They were saying, how do you, this is for both Mads and Brian, how do you manage the expectations of the kind of the fan base around this iconic character? Because you are messing with it a little bit in your own way, so.
Well, I think because we are kind of reinventing, it's given us some leeway to go places that are inspired by the books, and it's also, the book has been adapted twice, so if we did the same thing, we're assholes, so we have to change it up.
Ditto?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Well, I think we should go to the question that was asked on the Paley Center app. This is for the entire panel. It's which moment or scene has been the defining moment for your character in season 2, where audiences can look at the scene and go, yeah, that's what the character is about. So, ladies first.
I don't know why. I went straight to that fivesome with the staff.
I know why.
That might be my final answer.
There you go. Are you not saying you and us in the same bed? No.
That's what she said.
Oh, she did.
Still struggling with the language.
He's so ready to be indignant.
Save my day. Save my day.
It might. It might be what you said earlier, which is, "Can I borrow your imagination?" What you said.
Very that one.
Good. No, it might be what you said
Yes.
earlier about, "Can I borrow your imagination?"
Yeah.
But I like to think it's something else. And I'm not sure what it is. I'd like to think it's how crazy is he? What kind of crazy is he?
Yeah.
I'd like to think it's what kind of crazy is he?
What about use the ladies' room?
Yeah.
Use the ladies' room. Use the ladies' room's good.
Because even though that was season 1, it kind of echoed through season 2. You could still hear it like, ringing around the studio.
We were also afraid that it will come again.
Would be.
It's a tricky question, right? I have to say it's a tricky question, but everybody's going to say that. And I would also, obviously, the finales, there's something there obviously happening that we cannot help talking about. But I would say it's probably one of the moments early on, maybe mid-first season, where I spent some quality time in a therapy session with you. And he's flying away. I can't remember the episode. He's flying away thinking about something. And I have the chance, Hannibal has the chance to watch him. And he becomes very warm watching him. He becomes, he sees not only this brilliant person, but he sees something he loves. I think that is the definition of Hannibal, and very blurry answer, but yeah.
Well, it's a tricky question. I mean, actually, I would have to give the same answer as Mads. It's a kind of amalgamation of those therapy scenes, because for me, you know, it always comes back to that. It's such a specific thing to be able to do, like 2 or 3 times. I'm talking about the first 2 seasons, but 2 or 3 times an episode to do long, rich dialogue scenes just sat opposite another actor, and so the dynamism of the scene is to a large degree in the hands of the director and what he does with his camera and the DP, and we just get to play with the words and and figure out the relationship between the characters in there. And I mean, what's been great is how those scenes, even though they're static and set in the same 2 seats, have changed and grown over the 2 seasons. So that in the last season, we were, you know, there's a scene when I can't remember. I actually haven't seen the 2nd season, but when.
Well, you've lived it.
When was that?
You've lived it.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, I know what happens. So. You know, when I think Hannibal asks me, like, why did I tell? God, this is terrible.
Names?
Yeah, Mason. I think it's like, why did I tell Mason about him? And I say, I just wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And he really is entering into the same spirit that Hannibal went right through season 1. That was great.
Yeah. You brought up the behind-the-scenes crew, and I'd like to touch on some of them because they're essential, I think, to the mood of the show. So specifically, I thought you talk about James Hawkinson, who's the cinematographer. He, I think, shot most of the episodes. There might have been 2 where he didn't.
Yes.
Yeah. But it clearly set a visual template for the show that was immediately striking. So I was curious about, you know, him and everybody's like working with him.
Well, I first met Jim through David Slade, who had worked with him a couple of times, and what I think is so brilliant about Jim's cinematography is that he paints on velvet. Like the blacks are all velvety black, and so it really is a show that is all about the contrast of darkness and light, which he got the psychology of the show, and I think that's why the aesthetic is so powerful, is that it really represents that conflict between dark and light in Will Graham's heart.
And how is he to work with on set? Like,
Look, Hawk is like our own little private American horror show.
I was so curious where your answer was. Because I could imagine all
Hawk is one of, he's one of the few Americans that are on our set.
Yeah.
Our set are mostly Canadians, and the Dane here, our English fellow here, this fine young thing.
She's Canadian.
Our Quebecois over here, you know. So Hawk is one of the only Americans on our set.
Yeah.
And
But he makes up for it.
yeah, he tries, doesn't he?
Yeah.
No, he's real. He's real ugly and he's real loud when he wants to be. But he just, there's something about him that, that thing you were talking about, the shadow and the light thing. Like Jim is living that.
He has
while
that.
we-
Yeah.
He's living the shadow and the light thing while we're working.
I'll tell you a
season.
story about Jim in the first season. In the second episode of the first season, there's a scene where we're in Hannibal's office, and I was kind of leaning up against the pillar which supports the the thing at the top.
That's been gifed, like all over the internet.
I don't. What's that?
This is you. This is him.
No. I think we're thinking of a different scene. Not when I'm on the ladder. Maybe you're thinking about the ladder. Yeah. Yes, I am aware. No, I'm leaning against this pillar, and Mads is standing like where his desk is, like looking for, facing, so up the other end of the room are the cameras and the lights, and we're in the middle of the scene, and the camera it's kind of over Mads onto me, and suddenly in the middle of the scene, the door to Hannibal's office opens, and Jim comes in and walks the entire width of the room, but like this. And he gets to the camera, and he whispers in the camera operator like some note, and then rather than just staying still, he turns around, he goes all the way back. So he's special, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny. Well, let's then talk about the music by Brian Reitzell.
Yeah.
Which sometimes it isn't even like traditional music. It's just like a soundscape that weaves its way through. So.
Well, I think what Brian does is score and sound design, because when we go to the mixing stage, we usually bury all of the Foley and all of everything but the music. The music kind of carries things, because inside the music is a lot of sound design. And Brian Reitzell, when we first sat down and talked about the show, because I love film scores. I've collected film scores since I was 7 or 8. And so I'm obsessed with them. And on Pushing Daisies, we had a very traditional film score that was very melodic. And it was easier to talk about with my background. But with Brian, I was like, it's psychological. And I don't know how to tell you to do that. So I have to trust you completely to develop your own soundscape. And it's the first time I've worked with a composer where I just trust him to do whatever he wants. And it's always amazing.
Does everyone have a favorite particular episode that he scored?
I love his slowed down Goldberg variation and the finale.
Yeah.
I think it resonates at the same frequency as my tear glands. So it's very powerful.
Yeah.
I always remember the scene in the first season when Hannibal prepares the dinner party.
Yeah.
And I think that the final line, and I don't want to misquote it, was that nothing at this table is
Nothing here is vegetarian.
Nothing here is vegetarian. And he takes those 3 notes and punctuates the words. I thought it was spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with anything that any good composing to any film is the one you do not pay attention to, right? Honestly,
Or clever.
But it is. But for that reason, even though, obviously it is spectacular once in a while, it is as if you do not notice it was there. What was that? What happened, right?
Yeah.
So I can't answer that question.
I can't answer. Only in this way I can answer. I have not watched everything. I've watched early episodes of 1 and the first of 2. Part of the reason is I'm really I got a backlog of other things that I'm watching.
Yeah.
That I'm so involved in, and watching those things I don't have to suffer watching myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then the other thing is, I know, like everything else that I'm watching, it's really good that if I start watching, I won't stop. And I don't have time right now. And I want to I like to have distance on the stuff that I'm doing before I actually jump into it. But I can't wait to get to the place where I'm going,
Yeah.
wow, the music is so amazing. So I'm going to get there.
Good.
Well, I'll have to add before you. Cats in the basement while you're here, actually. Cats in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
Where I come and find her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something happened there as well that was beyond just us in a room. There was, whoa.
Yeah.
That was a sound in there. Was it a sound? Was it music? I don't know.
It was all
Yeah.
It was working for me.
It was bright, yeah.
God, I don't remember a specific moment. I guess it goes back to what you were saying. I mean, I live it. I don't notice it, and it's probably because it's working.
Yeah.
So
It's hard to quantify it because it's not melodic.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I like the song that goes da 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 da.
Where does
we don't do that.
the ticking clock in the finale? Where did
that's-
that
yeah.
originate from?
Brian.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant.
No, one of the episodes I watched today was the beginning of season 2 with the down the throat, the ear, which is like he does something with the sound of the.
That's actually you.
That wasn't me, yeah.
But he does something with the sound of the pipe as well on the
He
soundtrack.
took a
or something.
plastic
Yeah.
corrugated tube and just went like that.
Excuse me.
He's never watching it.
I forgot all these terrible things.
You've done. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, remembering it now.
It will never be the same.
Then let's talk directors, because you've got a lot of very interesting, like originally feature-trained directors in a lot of cases, like Tim Hunter and David Slade and Vincenzo Natali now and everything, who I think is directing the opener of season 3. Vincenzo, right?
Vincenzo's directing 5 of the first 6 episodes.
So they.
It really boils down to the template that David Slade created. And I've been a fan of David's. When I saw Hard Candy, I just thought it was brilliant. It was also gorgeous and very subversive and smart. And so David really has a rough elegance to him that felt like it matched the world. So I think everyone who's come in from Vincenzo Natali to Guillermo Navarro, who's an Oscar-winning cinematographer, they continue to elevate and personalize their view of the show. And everyone who comes in is so inspired by the cast in different ways that you can track who is getting the most emotional kick for that director in terms of the characters.
Does anyone have a favorite directorial moment?
I really enjoyed Navarro a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time with Navarro.
But it was interesting watching Guillermo because I don't know how much he directed before, but
It was his first official.
Right. And he just obviously knows his way around a camera just unbelievably. But so having the opportunity, I think he did 3 maybe episodes, was it in the first season? Or was it
2 in the first
It was only
season.
2, yeah. But even just over the course of those 2, watching him going into that and interacting in a different way, that was a privilege.
Yeah. The guest stars on the show, I think we need to touch on, because it's interesting because a lot of them sometimes are just like 1 or 2 scene B plots that kind of then comment on the Will-Hannibal relationship. I think especially for me, Amanda Plummer's acupuncturist was one particular. But I have a list here just like Jeremy Davies, you made
He
even
was
crazier than I thought he could be.
It was amazing. Amazing.
And Lance Henriksen popping up for a scene,
Yes.
and I want more Ellen Green. I hope you'll put her in again. I wondered if you could talk about some of the guest stars that you've cast, and maybe hint at maybe some who might be on tap.
Well, I love actors, and I've been very fortunate to work with some amazing ones who will do us a favor and come in and do a part that normally they wouldn't do because it's a short burst. But the real reason that we get all of those actors is this cast, because everybody, they're like, oh, I get a chance to work with Lawrence and Maz and Hugh and Carolee. Like, so they're the bait, and that's primarily why we get such great. They're the master bait.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's low-hanging fruit.
Wow.
But the dailies for Amanda Plummer were
Amanda
such
Plummer.
a joy
Yeah.
to watch, because she's an actress who is so informed by her environment. So if Scott Thompson's stomach would growl in a take, she would use it in the scene, and it was so. That was one of the most fun times I've had editing a guest star, was Amanda Plummer. And you could see how Lawrence and Scott and Aaron loved work. Like, you guys were having so much fun.
I adore that woman.
Was that your favorite guest star to work with, would you say?
She's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. I also really enjoyed working with Eddie Izzard, too. He was really low in the saddle. He just kind of got in it and was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Another one who, when you talked about expectations, audience
Yeah.
expectations, and how to manage them, it was like,
Yeah.
he was like, no, I got this. I know what this world is. I know who this is.
Yeah.
And he really, and Raul also. So it's been a gift to play with people like that.
Yeah. What about everyone else? Who are your favorite guest stars you've worked with on the show?
Yeah, you gotta mention them all again. I mean, it's amazing to sit next to a man who's so much in the zone that you sometimes have to go, are you still here? I mean, it's so relaxed, it's so spot on.
Right.
But I could mention so many. It's a fantastic treat to be on a show where I'll say it again, I'm the foreigner. This is fantastic to be here. But then they keep popping up, these people who are so fantastic. And I have, some of them I've never heard of. And it's like, why did he hide, And so it's just a fantastic treat to not only working with this fantastic cast. Every week there's another one that surprises you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not really fair to pick one person, but I loved working with Jeremy. I loved that he brought such commitment to that character, and he was in it. Talk about being in it. But he was doing something so keyed into the show, and he was so clearly happy to be there.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Thought it was, he was doing everything he needed to do, and then another 50% on top of it. It was wonderful.
It was interesting with Jeremy having the conversation early on, because I called him and said, we'd love for you to do the show. And his only concern, he was just like, can I play? I was like, do what you want. Like, do whatever you want. And he came in, and he was very committed to the character, and there was a lot of concern, like, oh my God, did he go too far? And it was like, no, because everything was emotionally honest, because he can go as further than you could imagine and still make it real.
Yeah. Darlene?
Well, I didn't get to work with him, but one of your first patients, who was so funny.
Folker?
Dan?
Folker?
Dan Folker. Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
With the
was-
Michael Jackson thing?
Michael Jackson.
Remember he said he had what was the, he had, right?
Ben?
Franklin.
Franklin Quadavo.
Franklin.
It's Franklin. Yeah, he had a thing with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
And cheese. He was
Cheese,
Yeah.
yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, he had a crazy time, but he had to go though.
He did.
He was rude in his own way, right?
Yeah.
Very rude.
Yeah, but he was fantastic.
Well, we can't not mention the food on the show, and
No,
how that's
you can't not mention that.
Yeah. So sorry.
Lord have mercy, that's good.
Yeah.
And watching dailies,
Yes.
usually the food is really, really good, but when it's not like the Colodettes, the
gelatins.
thing,
The gelatins, yes, the
it
gelatins.
looked awful, and the takes where you guys would just spit it out immediately.
Oh, the aspic?
Yeah,
The aspic.
The fish?
That was the only thing.
No, what about the fish with the thing coming out of its mouth?
Oh yeah, with his tail.
Didn't mind that one.
Okay.
I liked it all except that jelly thingy.
Yeah, the aspic. It's always really beautiful, and they're painstaking with the amount of time and prep.
Yeah.
And these women are there with their gloves, and the hygiene is all good, right?
Yeah.
But man, it's like, it's.
Well, also he's always cooking for Jack.
That's true.
It's
It's
always
all, yeah.
Yeah.
Guest of honor.
But he's also been the only one who's been like, I love this. Everybody's been sitting
true.
depressed and talking about shit. And he's all like, I love
No, the thing for me is I have to, I'm in the middle of these two, right? These two characters who are playing this psychological cat and mouse. I'm just looking for somebody. I'm just trying to stop people from dying.
why not enjoy yourself?
Man invites me to dinner. My wife's got cancer. It's about, and we're trying to, we had to become friends. I mean, we kept talking about how is this going to work? How do you not give it away? And so we.
You mean
figured,
like how the hell do we not see it?
how the hell do we not see that this man is doing what he's doing and blah blah blah? How did we? And so we realized that the only way that was going to happen is that they had to be friends. They had to become friends, and so the food and the invitation and the conversation,
The whiskeys,
the whiskey at the fireplace, of course, all these things allow them to become friends, and it's that thing you talked about earlier, Brian, about friendship between men and all that stuff. So that's kind of how we. But man, I always forget how tedious what we do is, because there's so much involved before action and cut, and the food preparation is just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's up there.
But it's such an important element with respect to the Hannibal character, to Dr. Lecter's character, that I have to really, that's where I have to work on my patience with the food.
Yeah.
It's not only looking fantastic, it tastes
tastes
fantastic.
great.
We had one time, me and you, we had a foie gras, and we were pretty much wrapped with the scene, but we deliberately fucked it up. We had another portion, another one.
Potatoes, the potatoes are always good. Whatever they do, the potatoes, it's always fabulous. It's always.
So the aspic dish was the worst, and the foie gras was the best.
I think we
Foie
did that in one shot, the aspect.
We got that out of the way.
How about those birds that you guys ate? It was marzipan, right?
Ah, they were a piece of art. I mean, she made the little, what are they called?
The little birds, right?
Thank you, yes, the ortolan. So they were marzipan. Yeah, why am I asking him when you're out there? They're marzipan birds with little spaghetti, dry spaghetti little legs, but also and broken up spaghetti and nuts inside to create the crunching sound of the bones. And it was edible.
Really.
Yeah.
Was it good?
The third marzipan bird is getting a little tough, but and also because it was meant to be so delicious, and actually you took a mouthful of marzipan. Well, I guess they'll cut round that, 10 seconds of chewing, or whatever it was. But the way that she had molded the tiny face of the bird, it had little eyes, and then she'd kind of, used some little thing to give it the texture of a plucked animal. I mean, it was remarkable. And I think that with all of that food and the table decorations,
table setting.
Hannibal's house is, first of all, like, you're talking about the time that goes into it.
Yes.
Hannibal has a lot of time on his hands, clearly. And the level of detail in those table settings, which would never all make it onto camera, is remarkable.
I would just say about the table setting, it is fantastic. But I must say, sometimes when people turn their backs around, I will occasionally remove a little skeleton and stuff.
Yeah, he will. He will.
Because, guys,
Funny.
I am the killer. If this is all over the place, I am the killer. So sometimes
Yeah, it does that a lot.
I take some of the worst
Those little
things.
skulls, those
Yeah,
little animal skulls.
No
and
reason.
eggs, porcupine quills and feathers.
Don't give it away.
No.
Three-piece suits,
Right.
funny accent.
Yeah, but it's
Don't
right.
need this skull. We don't need this skull. I'm the killer.
We should talk about the murder tableaus, because those are really important. Is that mainly Matthew Davies, who's the production designer, or is it Does he oversee it?
It's we come up with a concept,
Yeah.
and then the art department will do an illustration of that concept, and then Francois Dagenet builds it.
Got it.
And so there's a lot of hands in there, and there's some really good ones.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was
The
going to
eye.
say, what is everybody's
eye.
favorite? Your eye.
The eye
Yeah.
I think so.
and B-Man.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah.
Bananas. When we walked into the eye, remember?
Yeah, that was bad.
We walked in and they had the floor heated so all the background artists could be warm because they were naked.
More than warm.
Right. It was more than warm. So you walk in and there's all of these bodies and they're just breathing in unison. And some of them are sleeping.
And not just breathing either.
Yeah.
A lot of other
Snoring.
noises going out.
Yeah. Yes. And all I wanted to do was lay down. I just wanted to like take my clothes off. Well, that's not even.
I did that.
Did you?
And, well, it's in the scene, you know. Yeah, it wasn't as comfortable as you would imagine.
No.
Yeah.
I
Either
remember
physically
you had
or psychologically. I'd do it all again in a heartbeat.
You had some big feet in your face at one point.
Yeah, and not just feet.
Oh, you did have to get into that.
yeah,
I forgot. You actually have to join that party.
Yeah.
Woo.
And it was warm, and you did want to go to sleep.
You did, right?
Yeah.
What tableaus did you all like walking up to?
The horse, I mean, it's not a tableau, but the whole thing with the horse,
Yeah.
when I read it,
Yeah.
for the first time maybe, I was like, Brian? but it is, we got away with it, and it's fantastic. It's not only funny, it's beautiful, and it's absolutely crazy.
The turducken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that your counselor in that horse? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your social worker. Is that your social worker in that horse?
Yes. That's the best.
That'll be him.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to say the eye as well. But I mean, also you can go back to the first episode, and it's less. It's just so horrific. But the woman on the stag.
The
which,
stag, yeah.
yeah, and I remember that was day one, I think.
That was day
the
one.
first day of
The day we
filming when
discovered her body.
everybody's, figuring everything out and
Yeah.
getting to know each other and, making
the
polite
crows?
conversation. And then there's that. yeah, with the crows.
And the crows we were fighting.
Yeah. Which obviously then, out of that came all that antler, symbolism, which I didn't realize was was coming down the line.
Well, I can talk about the most disgusting one.
Please.
The mushroom episode was.
Yes.
I mean, I read the episode and I wasn't part of those scenes, but when I saw it, I really had to look away. I mean, there's something very real about it.
Yeah.
Like it could actually happen, and it's just the flesh. I just couldn't do
You
it.
know a young man like that? Is that in terms of like effects, this is a plateau. I mean, one of the things that really caught me was in one of the latest episodes, the kiss, where you turn into this black shadow
Yes.
and kisses
Yeah.
Will, who was
Yeah.
so fucked up at the time. It was fantastically beautiful and dangerous and crazy.
Yeah.
Another question from the Twitter audience. Faisal Qureshi asks, what does Thomas Harris think of the show, if you know?
We're told that he likes it, but I've said this before. I think
Let me
that
double
he
check.
is in a. Is he on the phone?
No, not yet.
I think Martha De Laurentiis keeps him in a zipper mask and a steamer trunk in her basement. I've seen her.
Okay.
She could do it, boy. Yeah. She could do it.
I have to ask because I was on stage with her last year, Gillian Anderson. Who I believe is going to be more regular in season 3.
Yes. So she will be a regular. We all need to be more regular.
Yeah, we all need to be more regular. I'm just, wow.
There's only one secret to be regular. It's like, do what I tell them to do. They will stay on the show.
Yes.
Psyllium husk.
Right.
And
Let's
that.
do what I tell them.
But no, probably one of the most exciting things about the finale is seeing Bedelia on the plane with Hannibal at the end. So what preview can you give us about about this and where she might go?
Well, the first episode is all about that. It's what's interesting about the third season is that every episode is kind of a little movie. So it's almost like the first episode is a pilot for a show that's just about Bedelia and Hannibal's relationship. And in that we understand the context of that relationship, past, present, and where it's going to go.
Cool. I also saw that I think it was just announced that Tao Okamoto is cast as Lady Murasaki.
Well, so Tao Okamoto, who is an amazing actress, you might know her from The Wolverine. She's a young woman, and we were very excited when she was interested in the role. So Lady Murasaki is an older woman, so we shifted the character. It's the same story, but the character is Chiyo, which is also from the literature, who was Lady Murasaki's attendant.
Got it.
And so we are expanding that character and her history with Hannibal, because there were a lot of things that we needed the character to do story-wise that didn't make sense for Lady Murasaki to do. And with Chiyo, we had a greater reign. And it's very. I got an email from her the other day where she was talking about this woman that she was observing for her character research, and it was one of the most wonderful emails I've got from an actor about their, like, this is what I'm planning to do, and this is why I think it should be done, and what is your thought on this? And like, and there's this moment that I think also applies, and I was just like, good for you. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm very excited to work with her.
Also from Twitter user, her name's Taddy, she says, the books mention 2 female lab techs, Liza Lake and A. Benning. Have you considered a new member for hashtag Team Sassy Science?
Well, we will be getting back into the lab in the second part of the season, so they may appear.
Okay, good. I think we should move to audience questions if everybody's ready. Oh, yeah. This is going to be a while. So, where's our mic people? Ah, they're there. How about you? Yes, right here. Yes, you.
No, Hugh.
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 But wait for the mic to get. Just wait for the mic to get to you, so everybody on the live stream can hear you. Go for it.
Hello.
Hello.
I think I speak for a lot of audience members when they want to know. Please tell us that Hannibal didn't go and kill the puppies before he got on that plane.
No.
Also, are they as fluffy as they look? This is important.
The dogs are fine.
Thank you.
Yeah. And fluffy, yeah. They're very sweet.
How about
Terrible
right
actors.
up top? Yeah. Yes.
Hi, this is for Caroline. Sorry, hi.
Hi.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry. I was wondering. I'm really in love with Alana. All right. And I was wondering kind of what it was like for you, kind of inhabiting her character, inhabiting her character, kind of because we're not always so sure what's going on with her life, like in her head and everything. I was kind of wondering how you're sort of bringing.
I didn't understand the last part.
Sorry.
Not always sure what?
How do you like kind of bring her internal life like onto the screen? Because we see her for like very short bursts usually, and kind of how like are you, like?
I don't really know. Well, it's true. We don't know much about her personal life.
We do now.
I don't know. Some roles you feel the need to really create a backstory for. Others, not as much. I can't say that I've spent much time wondering what she was about off screen. I guess maybe I didn't feel the need to. Sometimes you need to just to get a hold of a grasp of what you're doing. But in this case, I didn't really feel the need to go there. But
I didn't get an email from Caroline.
I know you did.
This lady.
duly noted, Brian. You're gonna get a long one tonight.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Are you wearing Jack Torrance?
Oh, yay!
My question is, we know that Hannibal is going to be trying to sort of lay low a little, apparently not with the fashion though, but are we going to have more incredibly gorgeous and disturbing murder tableaus in season 3?
You know, it's interesting because we do in the first couple of episodes, there's a really weird one And then it gets even weirder in episode 2. But so much of the new season is very much a soap opera about like we're out of the FBI. Characters who were in the FBI are no longer in the FBI. It's like it's all different. So we don't have that kind of mechanism. In the second half of the season, it's more about one case. So we don't have as many this season. Sorry. But it'll be interesting in other ways.
If I may just jump off of that, there was another Twitter question that I think relates to this from Corey Atod. He says, Brian, you have a fascinatingly non-caring attitude towards spoilers. What's up with that?
I guess because I feel like we have so much in our pockets that I don't mind giving away a little to, and also I guess I'm.
You lie a lot.
There's some that way.
Right.
But there's also I feel like the things that we give out are tantalizing as opposed to giving away the full meal.
I got you. Yeah. Okay. Right up there. Yes. Yes.
Oh, wow. First of all, hi. I love you guys, like, a lot, especially Mads. Like, you're perfect. Your cheekbones are perfect.
Especially you.
especially.
Yeah.
I really like you as well. Then.
Thank you. Oh my God. My question's for Caroline. If Alana. If Alana did survive the events of season 2, how do you think it'll affect her character? Do you think it'll make her stronger and more determined to catch Hannibal?
Well, you're very good at this. Yeah.
Really?
I think so. I think all of us have been changed by Hannibal, and especially after the finale. And as we were discussing before, I think it can go both ways for her. She can just let go of all of it and do something else for a living, or just fight the biggest fight of her life. But she's going to have to change her way of doing it because she can't go by the rules anymore. She tried to do that so much, and it just doesn't work to catch this man. So I think her power is going to have to lie in a much more manipulative way. Yeah.
Bring it on.
Right here, this lady. Yes. Just wait for the mic. Yeah.
Hi again. Oh my God, mass twice in a year. Wow. Whoa. Hi. First of all, I can't believe I'm in the same room with Morpheus. I know I took the red pill to be here. Thank you, baby.
All right.
Morpheus is in the room?
Just call me Neo.
You thought that motherfucker was bald.
All I know, I kicked his ass once.
Oh, shit.
Anyway, thank you so much. Listen, what you people have done, you've produced such a piece of art, and I mean, it's really, it's so effective. And I mean, are you aware how much art has come from your work of art? I mean, I've created something like over 100 paintings now. Most of them Hugh. Most of them right here.
Ah, wow.
May I give you a book of art?
Yeah. Absolutely.
No restraining order necessary.
Yeah.
I go up, I use quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Great.
It actually is pretty amazing to see the art,
The amount of
in the Hannibal community.
Oh, everybody.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Goodness.
Your book. Okay, wait a second.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bravo.
Amazing.
Wow, that's a good one.
And it's not Neo. No, it's not Neo. For you, darling.
Oh, wow.
And for you, sweetheart.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very good.
Okay.
And let's Elbit.
This lady right here. Yes, you. Yes. Just wait for the mic.
Hello. Okay, so a lot of the first and second season were spent kind of establishing the friendship between Maz and Hugh, or Will and Hannibal. So since they're going to kind of be going separate directions in the third season, is this still going to be a continuing theme in the show, or how is it going to change like, is there gonna end up being a lot less of Will because it's now focused more on Hannibal and what he is doing to get away?
I mean, I mean, I don't know. It's my place to kind of what to give away and what not to. So I'll leave that up to you.
I think just because they're separated doesn't necessarily mean that what they're experiencing isn't about each other.
Somewhere.
It's like Fievel and Fievel's sister, and they're singing underneath a pale moon.
And there's that very important area called the Memory Palace, right?
Oh, yes.
We might meet each other there for a beer.
Fine,
I remember beer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right up top here. Yes.
Hi, I was just wondering, I think I read something about there was some legal issues, but are we ever gonna see Clarice Starling at all, or?
We're gonna try every season. We ask them, and the first season and the second season they were like, they were like it was no, it was an annoyed no, and then the third season they were like, well, not this year, but ask us again next year.
They like the show.
They like the show, and they see that
There
the
you
show
go.
is, giving life to the material again. It's got interest.
Yeah, let's go right down here. Yeah.
Hi. So you mentioned Molly in passing in an interview, and we were just wondering how she might fit in, if she would potentially have any interactions with Hannibal ever, like just speak to her.
We absolutely are going to be seeing Molly and that relationship, so that will absolutely happen in the third season.
All right. Okay, right here. Yes. Yeah. Just wait for the mic. Yeah.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. Yeah.
Hi. There's a lot of speculation about Hannibal and Bedelia's relationship. And what do you, without giving anything really major away, do they have a friendship, or are they just manipulating each other? Does it have a romantic element? Like, what's going on with those two?
Well, again, we cannot say too much, but all I can say is that it's a very healthy relationship. She's there. It was a surprise to a lot of you, even to me, not to Hannibal. And why is she there? What kind of control do I have, or what kind of person is she? And that is obviously what we're going to explore the next couple of episodes. And, but hopefully, as always, we're not going to give the whole truth away. There's something enigmatic about not knowing everything. If we knew exactly why Hannibal did what he's doing, or that was a specific reason when he was a kid, it wouldn't be the same. There's something about, we love the term, the fallen angel, because it scares the shit out of us. At the same time, we embrace it because it's something we don't understand, but it fascinates us. And if we get a banal explanation for the whole thing, it falls apart. And I think that hopefully that's the same reason why we're going to see Hannibal and Bedelia, but we're going to give you as much as we want.
Going to do two more, and then we have something special to do. So right here, yes.
Hi.
Hello.
I'll try to be quick. It's great to be here, and I was traumatized for about 3 days after the final episode of season 2. Very traumatized by that, and but it was great. I guess my question is, as a writer myself, sometimes I'll be with a character, and the character will do something that I didn't expect. You know, it's almost like it's got its own personality and it's going along. As a writer, can you pinpoint one area where you just felt like whatever character that you were riding along with just kind of took a left turn? You're like, oh, where are we going here? And as an actor, Mass, if there was a place where, as you were acting out the scene or reading the script, where you felt that Hannibal would go this way, and you were like, well, that's an interesting route to take, you know? Because as a writer, I feel that sometimes where the character just kind of goes, and I'm following, like, where are you going, where are you going? And so I thought I'd ask that question.
Well, it's interesting because I think when twists in a story are oftentimes mathematical, because you can sort of go like, okay, I have to divide that and subtract something from it and add another thing to it, and then we get the movement and the story. So those things are, twists are usually, or left turns are usually less surprising for me. What is generally surprising for me is whenever I'm writing a scene and I cry when I'm writing it. Like I cry when I write for Gina Torres, because she, like I just imagine what she'll do, and I cried when I thought about Hannibal's betrayal. And we had several conversations, Maz and I, about that whole scene about I let you see me, and the heartbreak that he had, and I just thought Will is such a dick. So it's interesting to get into.
Yeah, it's his fault.
But those things are surprising because we're not supposed to have sympathy for the devil, but when, and a lot of those scenes are fueled by the conversations that we all have, and this cast is very vocal and involved with their characters and have lots of ideas, and they almost always end up in the show, and their feedback always makes things better. So I remember specifically that last scene with Hugh and Maz and the whole betrayal, and it was heartbreaking talking to both Hugh and Maz about how each of them felt from their character's perspective, and then being able to pour their own emotion and ideas into the scene was very satisfying, and that surprised me because I was being fueled by sources other than my own imagination. I was being fueled by theirs.
And final question, right up there in the corner. Yes.
Hi, Brian. I was really curious. I know that you have a fairly, you have a plan, a 7-season plan, I believe.
It's getting shorter.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I guess that answers part of my question. I was wondering, how often do you find that you have to deviate from that plan? How malleable is that?
We deviated a little bit from the plan for the 3rd season because originally it was going to be the season where Hannibal was abroad, and then as we sort of started breaking that story out, we realized, okay, in order to make that last entire season, we're going to have to tread water for episodes, and that's sort of if we have 13 episodes, we have no business treading water. So I thought, like, well, let's wrap Red Dragon into the 3rd season and then actually do a Red Dragon miniseries. So that changed a little bit. So that 7-episode plan became or 7-series plan became a 6-series plan because those seasons kind of collapsed into each other in a way that they actually fuel their own stories, and it felt organic. So that was one of the places where I was like, oh, let's change the plan.
Cool. Okay, now it's time for trivia. With prizes.
With prizes.
So pass it down.
Oh, any
pass
sports
it down.
questions in there?
Pass it down.
I don't think you're competing.
Pass it
Anything
down.
about Danish history?
Pass it down. And that's yours. Okay, so, and I have questions in case nobody can answer any of this, but I feel like somebody's going to have the answer for everything everybody asks. So we'll start with Caroline, and we're going to first be playing for this.
Yeah.
Lovely Hannibal t-shirt. Ask away.
All right. Dr. Chilton tells Alana and Hannibal that Romans used to kill what creatures just to eat their tongues?
Ooh. Right over here.
Flamingos.
Yep.
You got it.
I forgot that one too.
Okay, next we're going to play for Season 1 DVD signed by the cast. Lawrence's turn.
How does Hannibal describe the aroma of Will's aftershave?
I saw that hand shoot up right there. Yeah. Just wait for the mic to come into you.
It smells like something with a ship on the bottle.
There you go.
Told you.
I didn't even know that.
You didn't even...
Okay, what is the name of the fiction? No, I can't say it.
Sorry.
Hang on here.
We're playing for the Hannibal Season 2 DVD. Signed.
In that case, different question. What is the name of the patient that Miriam last goes to see Hannibal about?
Oh my God. Okay, we got a woman up there. Bring the mic. Okay, it's coming around.
That one?
It will get there. Yes, right there. Yeah.
Jeremy Olmsted.
Perfecto.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was a hard one.
That was a hard one.
Yeah. Oh.
He was Swedish.
So
I remember.
signed poster.
Right.
Yeah. Signed poster for.
It's the Mondo poster?
I don't know, but hey, there could be nothing in here. It could be the big
But this is not one of our normal posters, right? This is
That's gotta be a
those
special.
amazing Mondo posters
Yes, right.
that they did.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Where in Minnesota is Garrett Jacob Hobbs's cabin located?
I saw your hand go up. So wait. Tick, 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 tick. There we go.
Is it Bloomington?
It's not.
Oh, okay. We got to do another. So over here. Yes.
Is it Hibbing?
It's not.
Oh, all right.
The next one will
Right
be
here in front. Right here in front.
if you get it wrong this time.
Is it Duluth?
No, it's not.
I'll give you a hint. Adam's Family Values Campsite.
Right. Right up here. Right up here.
There's one there.
She's got it.
I know.
Shrike's Nest.
No.
Oh.
There's a couple up here.
Anyone else,
Up in
or-
here. Up here.
Okay. Right over here. Right over
Does
here.
anyone watch this show at all?
Right here we go.
What is Chippewa Falls?
There we go.
Jeopardy.
Yeah, exactly.
She went with the Jeopardy style.
Yeah, nice.
And finally, the grand prize is signed script, signed photos, a folder of signed goodies. So, Brian, go for it.
Name the 4 victims whose human remains are found on Will's fishing lures.
Oof, that's tough.
I saw your hand go. Okay, bring.
That is crazy.
Was it Abigail Hobbs?
No.
Or
Lost story. Anyone else? I see up the, yes, that lady, right. Yes.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm from China. I love you guys. And Mr. Dancy, you're so fancy. Thank you. Sorry. I love you. I love you a lot. Sorry, what's the question?
Name the 4 victims whose human remains are found on Will's fishing lures.
Okay. Oh, God. All right.
No, he's not.
All right, I'm sorry. Can I have a hint?
5.
It's 4 people.
No? Okay. The lady next to you.
4 hints.
Yeah, try.
Can I get 4 hints?
Okay.
Cassie Boyle, Marissa Scher, Donald Sutcliffe, and George Imagine.
Ding, 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 ding.
Impressive.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Most impressive.
Any final words to the fannibals before we close out?
Thank you all so much.
Thank you for watching. For supporting the show.
Thank you.